Right, in the second problem, sample problem number 3, here we're looking at all the different notation forms for the situation. So A, it's asking asking you x is a non-negative real number. So in my opinion, the graphical notation is the easiest one to do, and it allows you to see what the other notations are. So in a graphical form, if x is a non-negative real number, at what point do numbers start to be non-negative? 0. So that's our critical point. And now we want, are the non-negatives to the right or to the left of 0? To the right. So we know that we're going to extend it to the right. And so now we just need to decide, are we going to include 0 or not? So is 0 considered a non-negative number? Yeah, so we include it, which means it's a bracket opening to the right. So here would be our graphical notation, which means we can write our inequality. X is greater than or equal to, that gives us the bracket opening to the right, and then our critical point, 0. And then it also allows us to find our interval notation. Our lower point is 0, our upper point is infinity in the positive direction. Always a parentheses at the infinities. The 0 is included, so it's a bracket at 0. So this would be your interval notation for that set. All right, part B. Again, I'm going to start with the graphical notation. X is more than 10, but less than or equal to 70. So 10 and 70 are my critical points. Is more than 10 going to mean it includes 10 or excludes? Excludes it. So we're going to have a parentheses at 10, so it's greater than 10, but less than or equal to 70, so will there be a parentheses or bracket at 70? Bracket. And so this is all you have to do. Again, you don't even need to shade the line, the portion of the line between them. If you have your grouping symbols oriented the correct way, it shows that relationship. So now we can set our inequality. Our inequality is a bounded interval, so we're going to have x in between two things. And it's between 10 and 70. Does not include 10, so no equal here. It does include 70, so an equal here. And then finally our interval notation for this. We have a lower bound of 10, an upper bound of 70. 10 is not included, so parentheses. 70 is included, so a bracket. Right. Our last case. C, x is less than negative 8. So once again, if we start with our graphical notation, our critical point is negative 8. We want all the values that are less than. Is less than to the left or right? To the left. It does not include negative 8, so it's a parentheses opening to the left. So this would be our set. In our inequality form, we have an unbounded interval. Anytime you have an unbounded interval, start with x, and then identify the direction. So we're going to the left or less than negative 8. We look to see negative 8 is not included, so there's no equal sign here, so that will remain our inequality form. And then finally our interval notation, you take your lower bound, which is infinity in the negative direction, so negative INF. Our upper bound of negative 8 never includes infinities. Here it does not include the negative 8 either, and so these would be your notation forms.